Episode of Pavne Tells, right? So I hope you children are doing good, right? So as yesterday we had certain things that we talked about, today we will have some new things to talk about. We'll start with the learning a little about the birds, right? A few birds today. So before we do that, we will do a little song that we did yesterday, right? So we'll start with that. We'll start with a little prayer again, followed by the little song that we did yesterday. And then we'll talk and recapitulate about the power of vegetables once again and the importance of washing hands, as it is very, very important to wash our hands generally as well. And also these days being more careful by keeping our health and health safe and to stay fine and fit. Yeah. So let's start with a little prayer that we did yesterday. God, we thank you for the night and for the morning light. God, we thank you for the night and for the morning light, for rest and food and loving care and all that makes our day so fair. Help us to do the things we should, to be kind and good to others. In all that we do, in work or play, to grow more loving every day. Okay, so let's move on to the little song that we did yesterday, God's Love. God's love, it's so wonderful. God's love, it's so beautiful. God's love, it's so wonderful. God's love, it's so beautiful. Oh, wonderful love. Oh, wonderful love. So high, you can't get over it. So deep, you can't get under it. So deep, you can't get under it. So wide, you can't get around it. Oh, wonderful love. Oh, wonderful love. Once again, let's do it. And we have some viewers also with us. Thank you so much for joining in. Let's do the song again for children. God's love, it's so wonderful. God's love, it's so beautiful. God's love, it's so wonderful. God's love, it's so beautiful. Oh, wonderful love. So high, you can't get over it. So deep, you can't get under it. So wide, you can't get around it. Oh, wonderful love. Oh, wonderful love. So let's say hi to our viewers here. They have joined in. Thank you so much again for taking out time from your busy schedules. Welcome to Pavne Tells. So we started with a little prayer for the children, followed by the song that we did yesterday, just to recapitulate that children can do this again. Now, as we spoke yesterday about the power of vegetables, let's just recapitulate it once. Yes, and then we will move to the fresh set of stories for today. Okay. So we have power of vegetables that we did. Power of vegetables. Yes, all of us, all children here eat vegetables because it's important. Vegetables keeps us healthy, fit and happy, right? So happy eating help us in happy mind, right? So power of vegetables. Tomato makes your cheeks red. Carrot makes you jump ahead. Spinach makes you very strong. Peas makes you dance along. Once again, tomato makes your cheeks red. Carrots make you jump ahead. Spinach makes you very strong. Peas makes you dance along. Eat your vegetables every day. You will always be happy, fit and gay. Happy children, right? Let's practice this once again. The power of vegetables. Tomatoes makes your cheeks red. Carrots make you jump ahead. Spinach keeps you very strong. Peas makes you dance along. Eat your vegetables every day. You will always be happy, fit, healthy and gay. Happy children is the result of happy eating, healthy eating, right? Moving on to the birds book today. So today we are going to do a little bit of birds, right? Right? So if we are not eating vegetables every day, to the viewers here, we must eat vegetables. Please start eating all the vegetables. Yeah? Okay, so we have some water birds here. So we'll read here. Can you all see, children? Can you see the book? So we'll talk a little about this set of birds and this set of birds today. Yeah? So we have water, wading and fishing birds. So the first one is swan. We have duck. We have pelican, we have kingfisher, we have seagull, we have heron, we have crane, we have flamingo, the beautiful flamingo, then we have stork, right? Let's do it again. So water, wading and fishing birds. Swan, the first one is swan. Then we have duck, we have pelican, we have kingfisher, we have seagull, we have heron, we have crane, here crane, we have a beautiful flamingo, then we have stork. Okay, let's move on to birds of prey and flightless birds. Yes, eagle, then we have owl, we have vulture, we have hawk, we have kiwi, we have emu, we have an ostrich, we have penguin. So let's recapitulate these two pages today. Starting with the water, wading and fishing birds, we have swan, we have duck, we have pelican, we have kingfisher, we have seagull, we have heron, we have crane, a beautiful flamingo and a stork. Yes? Moving on to birds of prey and flightless birds. Here, this page if you can see. Yeah? So the first one that we have is eagle, owl, vulture, hawk, kiwi, emu, ostrich and penguin. Okay? So I guess this is the first page you people can see here. Then we have the next page here, right? So we'll now move on to the set of stories. Okay? So today first let's start with short stories once again, and then we move on to the next set of stories maybe. Okay. Okay, so let's talk a little about zoo. Have you all been to the zoo, children? Yes, no, yes, maybe some of you have been, some of you are yet to go, right? So we'll talk about zoo, what all we see in zoo. So the zoo is lots of fun. The zoo is lots of fun and I want to come again, right? To see all the animals and have all the fun. Let's do it again. The zoo is lots of fun. I want to come again to see all the animals and have fun again. The zoo is lots of fun with chuk-chuk trains. So we have train to see the peacock dancing in the rain. The kangaroo and her baby jumping like a spring. Lions and their cubs playing and roaring. Oh, the zoo is lots of fun. I want to come again to see all the animals and have all the fun. I love to see the monkeys swinging on the trees and the ducks waddling in ones, twos and threes. Look at the elephants marching through the grass. Love to see the snakes, but only through the glass. right? Let's do it again. Let's do the first page again. The zoo is lots of fun. Yeah, do we all agree the zoo is a lot of fun? The zoo is lots of fun. I want to come again to see all the animals and have fun again. The zoo is lots of fun with chuk 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 train to see the peacock dancing in the rain. The kangaroo and her baby jumping like a spring. Lions and their cubs playing and roaring. Oh, the zoo is lots of fun. I want to come again to see all the animals and have all the fun again. I love to see the monkeys swinging on the trees and the ducks waddling in ones, twos and threes. Look at the elephants marching through the grass. Love to see the snakes, but only through the glass. Oh, the zoo is lots of fun. I want to come again to see all the animals and have fun once again. Crocodile sleeping or giving me a wink. Or the hopping bunnies all white and pink. I wish I could slide down the giraffe's neck. Or look at the parrots giving each other a peck. Oh, the zoo is lots of fun. I want to come again to see all the animals and have fun once again. So I hope you enjoyed a little short glimpses on zoo, what all we can, see in the zoo while we visit the zoo. Yes? It's wonderful. Okay, so then we move on to some set of stories again. Are we all ready? Okay. Cool. So I guess our viewers are enjoying. Yes, thank you. Okay, so today we are going to talk about a very, very different set of story. We are going to talk about the emperor. The emperor who had been an emperor of India. Yeah, his name was King Akbar. Right. So let's see what short stories we have on Akbar and his wise men Birbal. Right. So it's a little different than what we did in the last set of days. Yeah, some different story. I hope children and even elders, viewers enjoy the story. So it's a new set of story for all the children here. So we have stories from King Akbar, who had been a king of India, and his wise men Birbal. Yeah, let's see what is the short first story about Akbar and Birbal. So the Emperor and the Holy Book is the first part of the story about the king of India, who was the king of India. One day the Emperor Akbar said to Birbal, Birbal, in your holy book, it is written somewhere that once Lord ran all alone upon hearing the cries of an elephant. He didn't even take his servants along. Why was it so? Weren't there any servants at that time? The wise man Birbal replied. He said, Your Majesty, I shall answer your question at the right moment. Several days later, the wise man Birbal called the servant, whose duty was to take the emperor's grandson for a stroll every day. Birbal gave him a dummy of the emperor's grandson made of wax. He said to the servant, Today, you take this dummy in place of emperor's grandson for a walk. Then pretend to have slipped near the tank in the garden. But you should fall in such a manner that this dummy gets thrown into the water. Your successful performance will fetch you a handsome reward. Let's see what's in store now. The servant did as Birbal had asked him to do. As soon as he came near the tank, he knowingly slipped and fell down, throwing the dummy into the tank. The emperor saw this happening from his balcony or the porch where he was standing. He at once rushed to the spot and jumped into the tank with his clothes on. But he found a dummy instead of his grandson in the water and realized his mistake. Birbal was standing near the tank. He said, "Your Majesty, why did you yourself rush to the tank to save your grandson? Didn't you have servants? Why didn't you bring your servants with you?" Birbal explained. The wise man Birbal explained, "Your Majesty, just as your grandson is dear to you, so are the devotees of the Lord, the God, are to him. That's the reason why, on hearing the cries of the elephant for help, he himself ran to save him." So the moral of the story is, when your dear ones are in trouble or in pain, you don't wait for others to go, but you reach on spot to help them out, right? So any time that your friends, your neighbors are in trouble, you should be the first one to think and go and help them out. You should not wait that somebody else would come and help them, right? Yes, that's how we take care of people around us, people whom we love, people whom we care about, right? Now, the second part of the Akbar Birbal story is the wise man Birbal, who was in King Akbar, Emperor Akbar's court. He got ill. Let's see what's there in the second part of the Akbar Birbal story. Birbal's illness. Once Birbal fell ill and didn't attend the court for many days. The emperor got anxious and thought of visiting Birbal because he was a very wise man of Emperor Akbar. So one day he went to Birbal's place. Birbal was very happy to see the emperor. Birbal had become very weak due to illness. The emperor wanted to know if Birbal's illness had affected his mental sharpness, right? Because he was the most wisest man in emperor's court. So he wanted to check whether he is still applying his wisdom in certain things, or because of illness somewhere he's lost his maybe his intellect. Yeah. The emperor wanted to know if Birbal's illness had affected his mental sharpness. So when Birbal went to another room to bring water, the emperor steadily placed 4 pieces of paper under the 4 legs of his bed. When Birbal returned and lay on the bed, he noticed that there was some change in the room. He looked around to find out what it was. Meanwhile, the emperor kept chatting to him on purpose, but Birbal was finding it difficult to be attentive. Finally, the emperor asked Birbal the cause of his diverted attention. Birbal replied, "I realize that some change has taken place in this bed." "What change?" the emperor asked with surprise. "It feels as if the bed has sunk to a thickness of a paper or has risen otherwise." The emperor understood that Birbal's illness had not at all affected his brain, but still, acting as if he had understood nothing, the emperor said, "One often feels like that during illness." Birbal said, "Your Majesty, though I am physically ill, yet I am mentally still fit." The emperor smiled and told him what he had done. So, children, so the moral of the story, or the crux or the gist of the story, was that the wise man Birbal from the Emperor Akbar's court was very, very sharp at his intellect, and he could really make out that there's something not right in the bed, right? And he knew on what purpose the emperor definitely went to see the wise men. However, he still wanted to check whether he is still mentally fit or not to attend the court once he returns after his illness. Yes. Now the third set of story from the same edition of King Akbar and wise man Birbal's story set. This is about the dog's bread, right? The dog's bread. The title of the story is The Dog's Bread. One day the Emperor Akbar and his wise men Birbal, while talking, were also taking a walk, reached a small village. On the way, the emperor saw a dog that was eating a black and dried up piece of bread. The emperor thought of teasing Birbal. He said, "Look, Birbal, the dog is eating a black bread." Literally black. Birbal understood what the emperor meant. He replied, "Your Majesty, it is for some holy purpose that he is eating. Some holy stuff had happened, and basis that the dog has been given this bread, so he is eating it." The emperor lost his temper. He shouted, "Birbal, don't you know my mother's name is also referred as that holy name? Did you mean the dog was eating her?" Birbal replied politely, "No, Your Majesty. First you said that the dog was eating that black bread. You knew very well that my mother's name is also related to that black name," replied the King Akbar. The emperor interrupted. "I didn't utter your mother's The emperor interrupted. "I didn't utter your mother's name," said Birbal. The bread was stale and had turned black." Birbal replied, "But I also did not take your words seriously, Your Majesty. I said that however stale and black the bread may be, it was a blessing for the hungry dog. No offense was meant to your mother." The emperor kept quiet and understood that it is not always that things should, be taken to heart so seriously. It was about the bread that the dog received as he was very hungry. He had nothing to eat, so whatever he got, the dog was eating that. So I hope 3 set of stories here were enjoyed by our viewers online, right? Want to just read something else. So we'll do a little bit of small rhyme on aeroplane. So I'm sure children like aeroplane. So let's read something about aeroplane. Aeroplane, aeroplane up in the sky. Where are you going? Flying so high. Aeroplane, aeroplane up in the sky. Where are you going? Flying so high. Over the hills and over the seas. Aeroplane, aeroplane, please take me too. Right? Let's do it again. Aeroplane, aeroplane up in the sky. Where are you going? Flying so high. Over the hills and over the seas. Aeroplane, aeroplane, please take me too. Okay, so this was a little about the aeroplane. Let's recapitulate yesterday's importance on washing hands. Why washing hands is important. Yeah. So let's do the recapitulation on washing hands. Washing hands is fun to do. Washing hands is fun to do. It keeps the germs off me and you. Before our meal or after a play, we need to wash those germs away. Washing hands is fun to do. It keeps the germs off me and you. Before our meal or after a play, we need to wash those germs away. So after playing in the yard, use some soap to scrub real hard. Let's do it again. Washing hands is fun to do. It keeps the germs off me and you. Before our meal or after play, we need to wash those germs away. So after playing in the yard, use some soap and scrub real hard. And washing hands is fun to do. Right? So I guess we have recapitulated washing hands and we heard some new set of stories today. Yes, we did God's love. We did a little prayer while we started. We did a little details on birds, what kind of birds, right? Now we will do a little bit of song again to close today's episode. God's love once again. So are we all ready? 1, 2, 3, start. God's love, it's so wonderful. God's love, it's so beautiful. God's love, it's so wonderful. God's love, it's so beautiful. Oh, wonderful love, so high, you can't get over it. So deep, you can't get under it. So high, you can't get over it. So deep, you can't get under it. So wide, you can't get around it. Oh, wonderful love. Oh, wonderful love. God's love, it's so wonderful. God's love, it's so beautiful. God's love, it's so wonderful. God's love, it's so beautiful. God's love, it's so wonderful. God's love, it's so beautiful. God's love, oh, wonderful love. So thank you everyone. I hope you enjoyed today's session, part 3 on stories, on little informative stuff for little children, right? We will be back with our part 4, right? So love you all children. Bye for now. I will come back on Pavne Tells in my next episode. Thank you. Stay safe, stay healthy, eat food, eat your vegetables for being powerful, healthy, strong. Yes. And wash your hands. Yes, regularly wash your hands. Yeah. Okay, so we'll be back and we will recapitulate on different set of birds in my next episode. Bye everyone. Love you all children. Take care. Bye bye.